Hey everybody, it's Mark, DoctorDeadwax, and it is time for Out of the Inbox 4. And I couldn't believe it was only 4 because I just did 30 inbox challenge, but Out of the Inbox 4. So today I'm having a Murphy Stout, just a nice Irish Stout, nitrogen Stout. Cheers. Sorry Chris, I had to retape this one. The Cascade was in the first version. I don't know, it just stopped taping halfway through. So we know the drill here, right? 5 records from the inbox that I clean and I talk about, same as the inbox challenge. Here we go. First one is Storytelling by Belle and Sebastian. Picked this up recently, paid like $12 for it. I'm kind of disappointed in it. This is a soundtrack for a movie that was made by Todd Solondz, that they were asked to do the soundtrack for and like to compose music and stuff. And I don't know, it's interesting in that it kind of has that Belle and Sebastian sound, but the instrumentals, you know, yeah, they have that feel, and there's like little short dialogue clips from the movie in between a couple songs. They're short, they're not too intrusive, but you know, that kind of stuff doesn't make multiple playing, you know, of a record. Like sometimes that dialogue in a live record, for example, can kill repeat listens. And then the composed songs with the lyrics and everything that are kind of more standard Belle and Sebastian fare, which they're great at. The kind of quirky lyrics with the quirky content, and then the Baroque pop all kind of blended together. Even those songs are kind of so. I mean, if you like Belle and Sebastian, you know, you're gonna love like Dear Catastrophe Waitress, The Boy with the Arab Strap, If You're Feeling Sinister, Tiger Milk. This is a good record if you want to listen to Belle and Sebastian while you got work to do, so you don't want to get sucked away into the overly engrossing and amazing albums that those are. So, you know, but there's other music for that, so this is just okay. It's just okay. Maybe some people really like it. They really like it. The one guy, he wrote a whole blurb on the inside here, and he said, wow, it's like glasses roulette here. He said, and this is a cracking record. Okay, Stevie. So that's that one. It's, you know, I can't recommend it. Next is this. This is Pacific Salt Live. This is on the Little Mountain label. Interesting. They got the track order wrong, so they sent out this little card, and this is a radio station copy. And, you know, I'll give you a little bit of advice, people. If you get a radio station copy, just leave it the fuck alone, because whoever got this thought, let's remove all the stickers and stuff, and let's get the tape up. And all they kind of really did was butcher the cover. Just accept that it's a radio station copy, and you'll never get it to look like it's not. As opposed to this, just looks like shit. This is from the CBC library. This is a CBC Edmonton record. It's on the Little Mountain label. And I'm pretty sure that this was pressed by London Records, because the actual label is smaller, like the London Records labels are. And that was the only pressing plant in Canada that used a smaller label, was London. So I'm pretty sure that they pressed this. I bought this because I bought this the day I was out with Hank when he was in Toronto, and we hung out for a couple hours. And I bought this because Chris, Astral Traveler, talked about Pacific Salt. Their release on CBC is part of the Canadiana series. They all have the same cover with the band name, like different band names on them, but different back covers with the information. He said that that was a great record. And this has Don Clark, who's supposedly this brilliant trumpeter, George Urson, Oliver Gannon, Tony Clitheroe, Ken Johnson and P.J. Perry. And this, so this is a jazz fusion record. These guys are like the greatest Canadian jazz fusion, or so I've been told. And there's no groove on this record. Like, they don't gel. There's no tightness. There's no, you know, there's 6 guys in this band, and when somebody's doing a solo, the other 5 are out having a cigarette or something, because there is nothing else going on. Good fusion has like layers that are kind of built on top of each other, and then there's the great solo going on top of that. And here there's just like almost deathly silence in the performances. And this is an underwhelming live performance. I can't recommend that. I mean, I have that record that Chris talked about also in the inbox somewhere. I hope it lives up to the hype, because that did not. It had these moments where it seemed like it could. You could tell there was something there, but there was just, they never got in the groove, they never got in the pocket, it never locked in and then just rolled. You know, you were just kind of waiting for them to hit their stride, and the stride never came. Next is Ayers Rock, Big Red Rock. This is a US promo copy, and this has a die-cut cover, and that's Ayers Rock, the largest rock in Australia, in the Southern Hemisphere. Holy place, I think, for the Australian Aboriginal people. And this is a promotional copy, and not only that, it's a white label promo. So that's kind of cool. And then at 6 o'clock there, you can see it has MR in a circle. So what does MR in a circle mean, everybody? It means it was pressed at Monarch Records, right? And Monarch Records, if a record's made at Monarch, it typically is a pretty damn good sounding record. And this is a pretty great sounding record. This is jazz rock fusion, maybe slightly prog fusion. I don't know. This is really good. I mean, there are a couple songs on this record that aren't outstanding. I mean, let's just face it. This isn't a 10. This isn't a monster. But there are some records on here that just, or some tracks on here that just groove. Especially side 2 with Big Red Rock, Boogie Woogie Waltz, and Get Out to the Country. Those are just, that is I think, a stronger side. And so while this isn't a perfect record, this is a good record, and I can recommend this. I picked up this white label promo for $10, and you know, it was a really good find, I think. Next is Drama by Yes. I know, here, everybody's going to sleep. Drama? What the hell is he showing that for? I like this record. This is, when I was a kid, in grade 9, 1980, this came out. Used to walk up the block from my school, and there was a place that sold records and had pinball machines. So basically, it was like a crack den for me. And I'd go in there after school, and I picked this up one day strictly based on the cover. There's like black pumas running under the timing strip here, and it's got the cool Roger Dean artwork. Totally hooked me in. Didn't know what the hell it was, didn't know who this band was, just bought this record, took it home, and it fucking blew my mind. And but this is the Yes record without John Anderson. He left, and instead it has Jeff Downs and Trevor Horn on it, and they were from the Buggles. So basically, this is Yes and the Buggles mixed together. Now Trevor Horn's continued his relationship with Yes after this, and he's the one that did 90215, Owner of a Lonely Heart. He produced that record and kind of wrote some of the songs on that with the guys. So this is a great record. It has Machine Messiah, White Car, Doesn't Really Happen, Into the Lens, Run Through the Light, and Tempest Fugit. And I really like this record, and I've never been overly impressed with the way that it sounded when I've revisited it as, you know, nowadays. And so I saw this online, and I grabbed it. And I'm glad I did. It's a definite upgrade from what I had. And So it's your standard Atlantic. And then, let me see if this is not going to pop because I need it to, right? Here in the DeadWax, you'll see strawberry. There it is at 6 o'clock. And then next to it, written in hand, is the word Sean. So machine stamp strawberry, that would stand for Strawberry Mastering out of London. And then handwritten Sean would stand for the mastering engineer at Strawberry, whose name was Sean Davis. And it's pretty unusual to see Sean actually sign something. And maybe it's because he was embarrassed by how bad his record sounded. Because all of the dramas in the entire world are from Strawberry plates. And, you know, basically all of the going ones are strawberries, US, UK, Jap, same for Tormato. And they all kind of have this kind of slightly, someone threw a blanket over the speaker quality to the high end. And this does too. I had a friend over the other night, audiophile buddy. We were listening to some records. I played him Ethiopian Nights by Donald Byrd. He was like, he'd never heard it before. He was like, this is fantastic. Then I played him this, and he's like, where did the top end go? It's like, it's completely gone. And that's kind of the problem with all Strawberry cuts. So that it's a shame, because this is, I think this is a fantastic record. Machine Messiah, Into the Lens, and Tempest Fugitive especially are phenomenal rock songs. They're like, yes, prog, taken a little heavier with a slightly new wave flip to them. So, but they're not corny, they're not, and then the little short songs are very, you know, Trevor Horn's keyboards and Jeff Downes' keyboards are very different than the other guys in Yes. So, pretty fantastic record. Still one of my absolute favorite records. Now with the Going for the One, there's a US pressing that's a ATGP George Piros, and that supposedly is the best sounding pressing of Going for the One. So that's the one to look for. So the next thing for me to do is to see, did they ever cut a George Piros? Did he ever cut a drama? But you know, this record didn't sell as well as all the others, so I'm pretty sure maybe just the original run of plates did the job. But this is a killer record. If you haven't heard this record and you at all like Yes or prog, you should kind of check it out. And if you're a fan of Yes and you haven't listened to this record in a while, maybe you should revisit it and give it a shot, because it's fucking killer. It's still one of my favorites. I was so happy when I got that, because that is the best sound I've had. You know, this record's $1, right? So I've had like 25 copies of this record. That's still the best sounding one I've ever had. And finally, the last record. This is Grail. I found recently, cleaned it up today. Van Morrison, Days Like This, 1995. You know, death of vinyl. The only pressing of this is it's a European, I think, or a German pressing. And here's the label. Just a very simple label. So that's the label. And let me see. This is probably going to be hard to show, but I'm going to try anyway, because it's got an interesting mark in it, which I have not. Of course, I can't see what it shows if I'm still wearing the reading glasses. So there you could see, if it focuses, where it says A1. Maybe it won't focus. There it is. It's coming in. Right about 6 o'clock, there's this circle. It's really faint, so I don't know if it'll show. There it is. So you see a circle, and the top half of the circle has like a block letter M in it. And that block letter M stands for Metropolis, and that's the mastering facility that cut the plates, was Metropolis. So that's unusual to see, because that's the first time I've ever seen that stamp anywhere, is in this record. So, and these are Van Morrison's dogs at the time, and this is his wife. She's an Irish, I'm not sure if it's his wife, maybe she might just be his girlfriend, but she's an Irish, I believe she's an Irish newscaster. I got this at a show, I think 30 bucks. The guy had it for 40. Got this slice in the cover that doesn't go all the way through the cover or into the record. Has an inner sleeve that says Days Like This on it, and then the back side has the lyrics. And this, you know, as I said in the video the After the Dig when I talked about it, this is a total 100% Grail for me. And I played it tonight, and I listened to it a couple times, which is highly unusual for me. And I'm just blown away by this record. It's really great when you find a Grail. I've looked for this for 5 years, tried to buy it online. This is €100 typically, more sometimes. And so to finally get it for 30 bucks, never played, perfect vinyl. From the death of vinyl. And the music's fantastic. I just think that from, I think 1989, 1990, Enlightenment, 89 I think that was, and then Hymns to the Silence, this, Van Morrison kind of hit this second pocket of creative brilliance. This is not like his early 70s stuff. This is not the folk, rock, R&B stuff. This is R&B stuff, basically. Sometimes he not on this, but in this period he sways to slightly gospel at times, and sometimes he does kind of like song speech stuff. And again, not on this, but in this period. And this is just great stuff, and lots of typical Van Morrison. I'm not quite sure what you'd call it, but lots of hearkening back to scenes and images he's already built in other songs. So, you know, if you're familiar with Van Morrison, there's kind of an added layer of familiarity with the lyrics of this. And this is just great stuff. Sample this online. I mean, I can't believe how good he was during this period. There's a couple others that I want to get from this period pretty bad, and I'm hoping they're going to be as good as that, because that is just fantastic. So, Van Morrison, Days Like This. It's great. I mean, I'm a fanboy, so you don't really have to listen to me, but go out and give it a spin. I mean, don't discount this record just because you don't think Van did anything good after 1975. I really like this record, and I think people should give it another chance. Yes, drama. Ayers Rock. This was a lot of fun. Can definitely recommend this. Can't recommend Pacific Salt live. And this is unnecessary. I mean, there's so much fantastic Belle and Sebastian out there that you really don't need to buy that. I kind of regret that I did. So, but that's the fun part of buying blind, is, you know, not everything's a winner, but I like that. I don't want to know what I'm buying before I buy it. I want that experience. So, cheers. Have a great day, everybody. Keep the record spinning.